if we search for opportunities. Opportunities of life change. Moments of leadership aren't always met with a fanfare, a spectacle, or pageantry. They're selfless and noble. They're inherent, instinctive. Authority doesn't always equate to leadership. A leader knows that teamwork is always better than going at it alone. And being reliable can carry more weight than any position or power. A leader goes the extra mile when you're tired and when it doesn't make sense to. But integrity is about doing the right thing when no one is looking. It's not about having all the answers, but taking what's in your cup and pouring it into someone else's that is less full. People follow those who are selfless and open-handed. A leader sees the potential in someone and blows wind into their sails. You go throughout your day hoping to unlock the potential in someone, hoping that something clicks, and sometimes the day ends wondering if any significant difference has been made, if any ground has been covered, if there is any tangible evidence of your investment, if it was just lost on those you've led, yielding no return. There will be times when you feel like giving up on those whom you've led, when you think that all that effort, all the guidance and direction is all for naught. Please, don't give up on us. Even though we may not be asking for it, we are desperate for you to lead us. Because we are watching. We are paying attention. We're begging for you to keep going. You help us realize that leadership is something worth fighting for, worth running after. What we get is rich, and it's greater than any monetary reward. It's been said leadership doesn't happen in a day. It happens daily. And your influence on us will have ripples felt for days to come.
Praise the Lord. Your leadership is needed more than you really could imagine. People need you. They're desperate for you as leader. As leaders, God bless each and every one of you. I will be your host tonight in our 3D discussion. I'm so glad each and every one of you are here with us tonight. I'm excited about what God is going to do in our time of discussion. Good to see you, Prophetess Valerie. I see some of our elders in here tonight. Excited to see all of you. We're thankful for you. Good to see you, Sister Richardson. I see Pastor Jeanette in here. Glad that you're here with us. I think Minister Peters is with us tonight. God bless you. I see many of you. Thank each and every one of you for being with us. I'm excited about a great time. As you know, as always, be sure that you do greet us as you come in, and also be sure that you do like and share, and so that way we can get this in the algorithm so others may know about what's going on tonight. Tonight, I'm excited about our discussion tonight, as we're going to be in chapter number 1 tonight in this, the Igniting the Leadership in You. I'm excited. If you don't have a copy, you can get a copy from Amazon. You can get the ebook there on Amazon as well. I know how time flies like Pac-Man. And so I want to go ahead and bring in our panel that's going to be rocking with us tonight. We're going to have Pastor Philip Davis with us tonight. Glad to have him with us tonight. We got Apostle Cofield with us tonight. And tonight we're honored to have our elder with us tonight, Elder Hill. We're excited about Elder Hill being with us tonight. God bless you, Elder Hill. How we doing, man of God?
Outstanding, Pastor. Outstanding and fired up. I always look forward to these 3Ds. I like the interaction. I like the energy. And I like the collaboration of information, because the only thing that does just makes me better.
Amen. Amen. Looking forward to it. How we're doing tonight, Apostle Kofi. I hope you had a blessed day.
Blessed, productive, good day.
Oh, good. Our productivity is always good. That means you got some stuff done today. So you weren't just busy, but productive. Good. And Pastor Philip Davis, how are we doing tonight? How was your day?
Oh, Pastor, no, it was a great day. It's always a great day. Dealing with the Goodyear activities.
Okay, well, good. Well, we're excited. I see you got that big old sword, so you can ready to cut somebody. Apostle Kofi, that's like one of her kind of sword. You don't got one of them sword behind you, so you can ready to cut somebody with that sword.
No, Pastor, it's pointing, so I'm pointing them to something today.
Okay, good. Well, God bless each and every one of you all. We're glad that you are here with us tonight. We pray that you have your book. If you don't, you can go ahead. You can get a copy on Amazon if you want to get the ebook, if you weren't able to go by and get it. But we want to get right into our discussion tonight. We'll be coming for those that my book, Igniting the Leader in You, Empowering Emerging and Seasoned Leaders for Maximum Impact. So no matter if you're a seasoned leader or just a new emerging leader, we're going to help you have maximum impact so that we can ignite the leader in you. We're in chapter number 1 tonight, and the title of chapter number 1 is Defining Leadership Beyond Titles and Positions. That's why I wanted to start this off, defining leadership beyond titles and positions. Let's start with you. We'll do ladies first tonight. Apostle Cofield, what impacted you, or what stood out to you in this chapter? I know I hit a lot of different things, but what stood out to you? And you know how we rock it here in our 3D discussion. We want to hear from you as well. For those that are on the live stream with us, even on the replay, chime in. Your comments is very beneficial to help us grow, and it adds along to the dialogue. Want to know what stuck out to you as well as we hear from it, and we're able to learn from one another. We're going to learn in 3D, and as we go deeper in this discussion, God's going to help us see more, get more, do more, be more, have more, and help people more as leaders. What stood out to you, Apostle?
Well, it was a lot that stood out in this chapter, but I'll just go with the misconception about leadership.
Maybe just give us 2 quick then. If you say a lot, maybe just 2 quick ones then, if you can. What hit you?
Okay, well, the misconception about leadership, because people think leadership is about titles, and they're only a leader if they, have a title. And, we know that that's not true at all. You can lead from wherever you are. I believe we're all called to lead in some type, form, or fashion. You just got to figure out where it is that you fit in to lead at, and you don't need a title to do that. And with that one,
let me say, go ahead. Well, you about to go to the next one, or are you still elaborating on that one?
No, go ahead.
Well, why did that stick out? You believe many don't get that because is that not common? Why did that stick out? Because I know why I put it in there, but just from your perspective, why did that stand out to you?
Well, it stood out for a lot of reasons. One, because some people believe when they get a title, then, I'm going to lead like this. I'm going to lead. Some people look for titles just to be a leader. They look for that just to, seeing themselves higher than others. They look for that. And it's not even about that. And then some people, like I said, don't believe or call themselves leaders because they don't have that title in front of their name. So they'll, kind of, maybe some people even belittle themselves, and put themselves down because they don't know what's inside of them. But the truth of the matter is that we are all called to lead. And so we just have to figure out, again, like I said before, where we fit in and take your lead position there.
I think that's good. Real quick, because I know how time can get away from us, but that speaks to mindset. And see, if you don't, as a man thinking in his heart, so is he. So if you don't see yourself as a leader, then you won't act like a leader. You won't walk like a leader. You won't perform like a leader. Why? Because you bought into the lie. Because I didn't get a title, I didn't get a position, then I'm not a leader. And so, and so you don't have that to lead. And you made a good point, Apostle. I think I want to just go a little bit with that just quickly. You say they think when they get the title, when they get this, then they'll lead, and that's where they fail because, but when they got the title, go ahead.
I say, I believe that you're already leading before you even get in the title, get the title. We always should be found working, working somewhere. And like I said, you are a leader. You just got to find where you lead at, and I know, people think, that it is about the titles, but it's not, because some leaders have titles and they're not very good leaders.
Yeah, and so they have, we all can lead. We got the capacity to lead. And I think that's so important because many people who can affect the organization, the job and the local church in a tremendous way. But if they buy into that narrative, instead of making the impact, they step back, they acquiesce because I don't have the title. I don't have the position, so I can't lead. And I think that hurts the organization. What else were you going to say, Apostle, that stood out to you?
It's still under the, misconception about leadership. But, one is when you said the question arises, are we born leaders or can we learn to become leaders? And you, in the book, you said you believe it's both. And I believe it is too. It is both because, some people are like, you're born a leader, or, you just, you have the you're already a leader. And I just believe that people, when they grasp this, to understand what a leader is, because a leader is the the art of influencing others to do something, getting them to do it, and to pull them and to help them and to show them. And so we all have that within us to influence or to help people get to where they need to do, or to lead them in the right direction. You think about it, a mother, you a leader, you lead your children. Everyone lead in some form of capacity. So it's just knowing who you are. That's all.
Yeah, and I think it's important too. Like you say, you lead, but the goal too, you want to be effective.
Right.
That's why I said some kids, you can see it in your children. They haven't been taught, they haven't been trained. They're natural leaders. They lead the other kids. They have an it factor. They have a confidence. None read a book or anything. But others, more passive, not. So some you can be born with it, but the more you develop it, now you can go to higher levels. No matter what level you are, it can always be raised. And maybe you might not ever be off the chart leader, as say if it's 1 to 10 and you 15. But you can become 9. You can still be great. Where the ones that had it naturally, like athletics, no matter how much I ran, how much I lift weights, how hard I do, because of my genetics, there's only a certain capacity that I could reach. It had nothing to do why I didn't have that, wasn't in the cards for me, but I could still reach another level in it. And that's the same thing I believe with leadership. And that's when we all can elevate, but some can really be super great, because that means you had a head start. Let's go to you, Pastor Philip. What hit you? What stood out to you? And we want to hear from you all that's on the with us. I pray I pray my book had a little impact and some stood out to you on the live stream. Those that are watching, if you're able, we'd love to hear from you. We had any comments, I believe, from those on the live stream. What stood out to you? I pray something stood out to you. We'll go with you, Pastor Davis.
Pastor, what really caught my attention was defining leadership beyond titles and position. When you when you said we must recognize that God is on the other end of our call to leadership, and you also said you have a leadership call from the Lord. I mean, that caught my attention, because some of us, you know, everybody has the potential to lead, but a lot of us don't want to answer that call, you know, what, for whatever reason. But, you know, and it was for me, it was just a passion just to serve. I would just wanted, okay, God, you know, you saved me, you know, you cleaned me up. Now you got me on the right path. You brought me to a local church, and now what am I supposed to do? So I just started out serving. You know, I started out being diligent on what I'm doing, or what was needed to be done, and I just started from there. And I didn't recognize it was a call, you know, to later on. And how did I recognize the call? Through the teachings at New Life. And some people don't. I'm not gonna say, they say we don't take advantage sometimes of what's going on in your local church. You know, if you want to learn, you know, and a lot of leadership is not being taught in the local church. So when you get a church that's teaching leadership on how to become a leader, how not just a leader, but how to be an effective leader, how to be a leader efficient, how to be a leader of excellence. I mean, we have to grasp that, because that's not at every church.
That's
you know,
good.
and it carries over. You know, we always wanted to start in the church, that way it can carry over into the real world. The same examples, the same teaching that we learn from the church, we can carry out the real world and be successful. But we got to recognize that we do have a calling. You know, God didn't just, you know, bring us to this earth just to be nothing. He brought us to do something. He brought us to be successful at what he's called us to do. And that's your destiny and purpose. And some of us, we missed the call, or we don't want to answer that call, because, you know, that calling, pastor, is deep, because it takes commitment. It takes sacrifices. It take long hours. It takes time. It takes learning. It takes, even falling down sometimes, because as you learn, you're not going to get it all. So you're going to make mistakes, but that's all in the learning curve. That's what makes you better. That's what makes you greater.
Yeah, in those mistakes. And as you brought out, Elder, we'll go to you, Elder Hill, real quick. The reason I put that in the book, that the call is from God, because sometimes if you're not careful, even in the house of God, when you are asked to lead or brought to lead, if you think it's just man, like just the pastor asking you to take a position or asking you to take some role, if you see it as man and you don't hear God in it, you can miss it. Because you can say, I don't have time, or especially the ex-military people, one of the first things we learn in the military that most people got, maybe 90% of it, is like never volunteer, like stay within the group. They had that, like stay within the pack, like don't stick out too far. The best way to get through stuff is just ease through. Don't be too front, don't be in the back. And so you have some people say, like, I know the price of leadership. I know what it is. And I've heard people say it. And oh, no. I don't want to lead. Why? Because I know. But if it's God calling you, that means you telling God no. But if you look at it as man, you look at it as like, no, I told man no, because I didn't want to sacrifice and I knew what it took. But if you realize it's God, it's different. You know, in it, I think it takes on another thing. Like for me, the lead, what the things God, something is like, you know, that's when the nevertheless, it's like, hey, God, if this is what you called me to do, you know, I'll do it, you know, and I know what it's going to cost me. When you hear people talk about, yeah, I don't know the price and the cost, that's it, because they know it. And some reject it. And the bigger thing, you miss your blessing. Biggest thing you could do. I'm so glad I said yes to lead. Elder Hill, what stood out to you?
Yes, Pastor. Actually, what stood out to me was on page 7. You know, when you talked about properly defining leadership, you know, that is a very critical thing. You know, as far as leadership, and then you know you jump down a couple of sentences. It says, if the outcome of a leadership benefits only the leader, it becomes manipulation. And in the church or in your organization, you know, that is a critical thing, because number one, a lot of times people, they just inadvertently put you on a pedestal, not. And if you lead them the wrong way, then what you're doing is you're destroying the kingdom, you know, because you misleading the people themselves. And then, you know, I also like that, you know, you had, you know, leadership must be intentional. Every interaction a leader has with others should be definite, should have a definite outcome or vision. And then, you know, because I thought about that word definite. You know, that means clearly defined, you know, determined, you know, no ambiguity. You're not vague, you're not general. So the thing is, as a leader, it is critical for us to communicate the intentions of the organization clearly, so they can clearly understand. Because, you know, like Apostle said, and like
I think we lost you. I think we lost you, Elder. If you might have to log
all
off and
time.
come back on. Are you good, Elder? I think we lost you for a minute.
Oh, we back? Am I
Yeah,
back?
we're back. At least your audio
Or
is.
did
Go
I
ahead.
just die?
Okay, we're good. You're back.
Did he just die?
Oh, he did. You might have to log off, Elder, and come back. So we'll get you back, Elder. You might have to hit off and come back, and we'll chime back in. So Elder might have to go back and come back in. I think we lost Elder here. So Elder, you might have to go back and come back in and remember that. So log back in. Well, good. So we'll remember what Elder, but that's so good. That's the thing. And I'm gonna say this too. I want you can really grasp what's being said in this. This is leadership food. We're giving, if you would, leadership game that's gonna help you. Leadership is an art and a science, and I think that the difference, like we just said, between manipulation and leadership is the outcome. You know, when you're doing things, if it's not for your benefit, that's what kingdom leadership is. It's like that my influence, the tactics that I'm using, the things that I'm doing to get you to influence you is for your benefit. That's kingdom. But if I'm using my talent, my gifting, my anointing for me, now I've manipulated you. And that's why leaders need to know that, because when you are gifted as a leader, normally God is giving you something that attracts other people, that causes you to have influence in other people. And if you're not a good steward of that, then you get wasted. And I think we have to learn those things on the front end. The reason people are attracted to you, people drawn to you, it's not all about you. Well, I study, I this. Yeah, you did that. But other people do just as much as you do. But you have an it factor. You got something special on you that gravitate to you. And some have it where they can gravitate thousands. Some have it where they can gravitate tens. Some have it hundreds. It's not how much you prayed or what all you do. It's just something that God put in you that people are drawn to you. And when you realize that, the more he entrusts you with that, then the more humbler you should be to never abuse that ability for people to want to rock with you and follow you. And if you don't get this in your genesis and your foundation, you'll think it's about you, and then you use it and you abuse it. And one day you're going to give an account for that gift, because like, God, I gave you gift to impact thousands or hundreds, and they followed you. And so that's why it's important that we learn this, so we'll be precious with it and not big-headed about it, and know it's a gift. It's a gift of leadership, a gift to attract, a gift for folk to rock with you. It ain't nothing you did, but it's something about God gave you, and you was a steward of it, and you multiplied it. And so I think we need to know that. Okay, Elder Hill, we lost you for a moment, but you were saying some good stuff. You're looking clear now. Now you're muted. Now you got to unmute yourself. There you go. Elder, you're muted now. Elder Hill, you're muted. Elder must got some fire to say today. Because it's kind of hard for him to get it. He's off and on, so we're gonna get it, Elder here. So we don't lost him again. Did we lose him again on your end? We did.
Yeah.
We're gonna get him. So we're gonna get him. So we're gonna get him. Elder gonna get it. So he must got something good he needs to share. Let's go on now to question number 1 in our discussion. We go to the discussion question. Let's look at the first question in that. It talk about, I asked, how can we as a church foster an environment where leadership is understood as a call from God rather than a pursuit of titles and positions? Because I talk about it's not about title. How can we get this environment so that people realize that it's not about, so you're not feeling bad because you don't have a title. Your feelings not hurt. You're not envious or jealous because others do have a title, and you don't feel less than because you don't have one. How can we foster that type of environment? Let's see one more time. Did we get you? Did we still ain't got Elder? Go ahead, Apostle Cofield. How can we foster that environment?
I believe we can foster that environment by having leadership framed as service. We have to frame it as service, following Jesus' example, being, humble. And so it's about, serving others. So if we can continue to do that, serve others, meeting other people's needs, and building God's kingdom, and not gaining personal prestige or like personal glory, then that is one thing that we can help with the church right there, to know that we frame leadership as a service. And it's not about the title, but we framing it as a service. And I believe we also as a church have to recognize service over status, meaning, we have to celebrate those that's in the background versus that's in the front, right? So you can have people working all in the background, making all this stuff happen. They don't have one title. They just sister, a brother, so-and-so. But if we fail to recognize them and what they're doing, then that can just mess them all up. But we as a church have to bring that in and to help, acknowledge them. It's not about status. It's about your service that you're doing, and then it's humility, it's valued in practice. So if we as a church is doing that, leadership model being humble, right? We should acknowledge that leadership is a privilege granted by God. Basically, God is calling us. It's a privilege granted by God. And so it's nothing that we just doing, for personal ambition or personal gain. No, this is a privilege by God that he entrusted us to lead. And that's a very important thing. So I believe if we as a church, cultivate that, then that'll help us.
Good stuff, Apostle. And I hope what we just not hearing it, but we catch it, pick it up, and realize then the test of it, not just by us on here saying it or us just hearing and saying amen. Do we model that out? Are you shouting out? Are you shouting out? And are you recognizing others that are in the background that are not up front or do things that are not seen? How often in your leadership do you acknowledge that? Whether in a public or in a room of big people, a room of threes. Because see, if we're not careful, when we have opportunity to do that, we can minimize the impact of that. And some people get the mentality, well, we ain't got to be stroking people. What you do, they do it unto the Lord. And so we ain't got to always be bigging up folk. And see, but you don't realize you missed the principle of what you just said, Wanda. And if you don't know it, you think it's just bigging up somebody and like stroking them, when you just said the principle, how we get that framework, that it's about your service,
right? And
those that are in the back. So we should be talking about those. And when we mean in the back, don't mean not the back that they're just in the summer in the background, but those who do not grab that mic.
That's right.
That's what we mean. Those that do not grab that mic. Everybody that don't grab that mic is considered background. Because you're not on, because the mic is like you're center stage with that. If folks that don't, and then the folks that don't grab that mic for an extended period of time. But so everybody that don't have that mic, this mic, those are the people, all the ones that especially grab the mic or leaders. that should be. And then if you lead an auxiliary and you don't still, if your auxiliary not about the mic, but you the leader and you get the shine for being the leader, but you know it's the people behind you that are really doing it. Are you giving them what they need? And if we see it as like stroking people, just bigging up people, then we miss what you said, Elder, and letting them know it's all about service. So we should celebrate service. Okay, Elder Hill, real quick, we know you've been having some trouble, so we want to chime you in on this question and then let you finish up any of your other thoughts that you wanted to say about you had talked to us about the manipulation and how it's important that we know that it's about not manipulating people, but doing things for others' benefit.
Yes, Pastor. I think I was, well, I really don't know where I'd, or at what point I got cut off, but you know, basically I like that you had in there that you know it is definite. All right, so that means it's intentional, and if it's intentional, all right, you know, we have to pursue that, because like we can make or break a person's spirit. We can make or break a person's relationship, you know, in the church or within the body, and you know that's just devastating to the kingdom. So,
Wonderful.
like I said, as a leader, yeah, we need to do that. So
now, this question, what you say on this one, Elder?
All right. Now, for this particular question, I was, you know, when I saw this, I was thinking about promotion from the east, nor the west, or the south.
Mm-hmm. Promotion comes from the Lord.
To me, that is important, because there's a common goal. There's an end.
I think elders, we got to pray. Intercessors, we need to send a prayer to our Elder Hill's internet. Mm-hmm. We speak to the internet. Loose him and let him go. Intercessors, mark your post. So, Elder, we're gonna get there. Elder Davis, we'll come to you, Elder Davis. Elder Hill, he get it.
I think, to me, Pastor, when you come into a ministry, it should always be about serving. It's never about a title. You know, Jesus didn't come for a title; he came for people, and that's the role model, the example that he laid before us, and it's all about kingdom. It's all about people. It was never about, hey, title is good if you get one, but if I never get one, I'm the greatest title you can give a person is a servant, and that's what we should always come in to serve, because in serving, that's where you learn.
Yeah,
people sometimes don't understand that, but that's where you learn. That's where you learn about everything. That's where you learn what to do, what not to do, and that's where you listen. You get to see servants. You know, when you're in a place that teaches servanthood, and I think that it's another thing that I want to add to that is being in a place that teaches you what a servant is all about. You know, sometimes we follow or run after something that really, hey, it's good to have, but I'm looking to God for what that's where my calling comes from. That's where my title comes from. What is he? How does he see me? How does he see me? Am I really a value to the kingdom? Am I really a value to God's people? And I want to be a value to God's people. And the only way I can be a value is to serve them, because I didn't know, and somebody taught me, and what they didn't know, if I have the ability to teach them and to help them, to train them, that's what I'm gonna do, because I'm gonna pour out everything I have. I'm not gonna hold nothing back. Whatever was taught to me, whatever given to me, I'm gonna pour out to somebody else. You know, and that's how you strengthen the church. That's how you strengthen people. That's how you value people, and that's how you get the glory from God. And that's what it's all about. It should never be about a position.
That's
It
good.
should never be about a title. It should never. Elder Davis is great, but I remember when I came in, Brother Davis was great to me. I was great being Brother Davis, but as God used me and God educated me through the man and woman of God, then this is where I am now. Not looking for a title, but this is the crown that God has given me over my years of life, over my years of servanthood.
See, that's good. That's wonderful, and I think that's important. We'll get you, Elder, while we got you. So while you strong. So go ahead, Elder. Take out. You better run like Elijah, man, before your internet go out. Run, Elder. Go ahead. Go ahead. Run, Elder.
I think I got it.
Okay, we're gonna let you run. Run, Elder.
Yeah. But anyway, like I was saying, God is using us for who we are. And because we are God's living, active billboard. And we're gonna, the people that he send to us, they're gonna be attracted to us by who we are. So since we are God's active billboard, and the people gonna be the people that are attractive to us, it's important that we display the right example, because number one, they're gonna know what's real and what's not real. We got to move beyond that, trying to be competitive, because the thing is, God has specific people that's assigned for us, and by us being real, those people can see that, because that's what, when they come to church, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for the genuine.
Yeah.
And I think all that is good. And when I just chime in on how we foster that environment where it's understood what we're doing now.
Yes.
You have to discuss it. You have to talk about it, because everybody don't understand that. They think it's about positions, a title, less than hierarchy. So with this discussion, how else we do that? Those that have titles and positions don't fall out with people when they mess up your title, or don't have an understanding of protocol, and don't quote unquote honor your title. It's like if somebody like said, hey, hello, Wanda, and she like, Wanda, hey, Larry, is Elder. That kind of mentality, that's you foster it by not doing that. You say, well, wow, they disrespected me. And one apostle, I'm an apostle. They disrespect. Sometimes people don't know protocol, order. They're not churchy. That's your name. They didn't mean no harm. Yeah, they do. They should know. They were thrown off. Well, then be bigger than that. You don't let that get where, if you know they doing it to just disrespect, then take the high road and don't let. Okay, you know who you are. you know who you are. Not upset because they call you Wanda or whatever. Yeah, that's how we foster it, because it's like, hey, that is who I am. They the one who look bad if they're playing a game. That's important. Why? Because I've seen this in church. People are they'll check you real quick. It's evangelists. No. You always want to be like, praise the Lord. People will know, and that's why I have it in the book, my other book. This is how we address people and why we do. People do that with First Aid. In fact, we have people sometimes come to church and they say, hey, Sister Dow, sister, and leaders will want to jump them like, hey, she's First Aid. Don't be. Sometimes people don't know. Some people don't come out of them. They come out of churches where they call the pastor by his first name. That's where they came. So if they come, hey, Robert, I don't get mad. Hey, no, it's like, and they'll get it with other people. Like, no, this is how, that's how we address pastor. Like, oh, and it's like, okay, we ain't gonna jump you. So we don't jump people. You don't flex on people when they do that. That's how we keep that environment, because it's not about the title. And so that's one thing we do. We don't demand. I demand you. When I go places, If somebody they're saying Robert and stuff, I don't demand that. I'm pastor that. I'm doctor that. Man, we don't demand that. That's how we keep that environment. What we do as leaders, and don't get all bent out of shape when people don't know or mess it up and call you wrong. You don't get all bent out of shape in that. And when we do this, then people will have big towels and not big titles. They want to have a big towel. They'll want to not have big positions, but want to make sure we have big progress. And that's why this is so important, because that's how we foster this environment. Thank God we have it, and we want to keep it going. But that's how we do it in other places. Let's go deeper in it, and let's go to question number 2. Let's start with you, Elder Pastor Davis. I want to deal with what are some practical steps. What are some practical steps, I say, that we can take to ensure that our leadership impacts our local church as effectively as it does in other areas of our lives? What are some practical steps? Because we wanted to impact our church and not just impact in other places. And I wrote this question because I talk about it in the book, that sometimes if we're not careful, people will be leaders in the community and as coaches with sports team, on their jobs, in fraternities, organizations. They'll lead in other places, but then don't do that in the church. And so we don't want to be leading without the church and then at request in the church. So what steps can we ensure that we don't do that?
I think one of the steps, Pastor, is always define your vision, craft it clear, a clear vision statement. This should align with the core values, that in your mission. So I think that should be a clear definition of what you're trying to achieve for the kingdom. How are you trying to direct in the kingdom, and that's define the vision. So everybody needs to have a great understanding of that, and we got to communicate that regularly. We got to communicate the vision. We got to communicate it in sermons. We got to communicate it in teachings. We got to communicate and in activities, and align and motivate others. So that would be how you empower people. Delegate effectively, assign tasks based on members' strength and skill, provide necessary support and guidance to ensure success. So it's so many things that runs with that. But as far as to impact the local church, we got to have the clear vision. So when other people come in, we can give them the vision. Well, what are y'all about? What are y'all trying to accomplish? And we can give them a clear vision of what this church is about and the direction that our senior pastor and our first lady is directing us and showing us and trying to take this local church. We're trying to go outside the 4 walls when we can impact the city, we can impact the state, and we can even impact government. And that's what it's all about. Making it clear, making it understanding, and always communicating that. Every time we got to intentionally do that all the time.
Good. That's good, Elder. And that goes not from just the pastor, but your team, your auxiliary, your department. What's the vision? And clearly articulate it. And then, as you said, have people based on their skills, delegate. We have to be intentional in getting people involved based on their strength and skill sets to get them involved. Then that way, because if not, some people will stay on the sideline unless you ask them. So that's where the recruiting aspect, aligning with their gifts and articulating that. So that's why that's good. We got to always talk about the vision. That's good, Elder. Good. So that's not just on the people, that's on us. What would you say, Elder Hill? Because you're a general on post and you don't do nothing in the church.
Pastor, first of all, I would say, it's important that, you build trust based on the relationship. All right. And when I say, building trust based on the relationship, like I said, you're not putting yourself on a pedestal. But the thing is you clearly defining just like Pastor David said, the division and also what's going on. Be committed to growth. Be a good role model. Be a good coach. All right. And in any organization where you have people, you will have some hiccups. So you're going to approach those problems with enthusiasm and not defeat. Because the thing is if you have a positive mindset moving into whatever you're doing, that are taking bleed off on everybody else. They'll foster that, and they'll pick up that and they'll run. And also holding your team members as well as yourself accountable. Because if you have good accountability, people will see their worth and their importance. And that's the main thing. Is because if you can allow them to see that, yes, your input, whatever you do, is important and valued, that'll help keep the ball moving.
Wonderful, Elder. That's good. All that accountability, and that's good. And you, Apostle Cofield, and I framed this question intentionally when I wrote the book. I put this in there because I've noticed that in my times of pastoral ministry and dealing with other pastors, you'll have people who have mad skill sets, abilities to maybe say organize or delegate or do. They have skills, and then you will like kind of some kind of way find out like you can do this good, and the whole time they had these skills and ability but never brought them to the table at their church. And whatever it was, like you had computer skills, you good delegator, you good at organizing, like you really good at that, but you never brought that. So it's like that's why I crafted that, because shame on us that we use what God gave us to build worldly places that has no eternal value, and we don't use it in a place where souls are at stake. We use it on a job, but the church is the most important institution in the world. What we do has eternal value. Nothing else has that eternal value. Even our country, the worst that'll happen if we don't do what we do, even on a governmental military, we go into captivity, we go into bondage, we lose our freedom. But my God, if we failed as a church, we're talking about eternity and souls and generations. So if we're going to use our skill sets, our abilities to impact anywhere, my God, they should be used in the house. And many times that leadership, because one of you said, not about a title, that ability never get used in the church, and it get hid out. This is why I put that in there. Help us further with this, Apostle. Well, we won't be that kind of people. Thank you, Apostle.
Okay, yeah, I believe, Pastor, that we have to ensure that our leadership in church reflects the same like values, integrity, and the work things that we do outside and in other areas of our lives. So you have to bring, if you want this just good as that, if you're a decorator on side and you want this, outside of the church, and you want this to be done in excellence, you leading the people, guiding the people, make sure everything is done, dress right, dress, all of this, you need to bring that same work ethic in the church, and all of those leadership skills that you have, or whatever it is, whatever you have on the outside that you use, you need to make sure that you bring it into the house. And people need to see also that this will show that you're kind of rooted in integrity, because we want to make sure that we bring that into the house. And most of all, I believe we have to lead by example, right? It's like, so we got to model that behavior, the attitude, the work habits that, if I'm a leader on my job at work, and I want them to have this and do this, I want to bring that the same way into the church, because we want to model great work habits inside of the house as well as outside of the house. So we have to bring that in. And if we expect this from others, then we need to expect this of ourselves in the house. So that's
Yeah.
what I believe that will help us do the same thing in church as well as outside.
Yeah. So let that be a challenge to us. And we have to echo this. Think about it. The same energy. You know how we have that saying when somebody say do something, they say, we want you to have that same energy. You know, when you was doing that, now bring that same energy when it didn't work right. You know, that's that saying. We want that's well, the same energy that we have if we're go-getters on our job and we get accommodation, do we bring that same energy to the house of God? If we're on time on our jobs and we don't come in late, do we bring that same energy to the house of God? On our job, if we follow guidelines and how we do things, do we bring that same standard? Shame on us if we give any other institution more than we get a house of God. But if we see it as something of man and we don't have these discussions, then that's why we back to that question, why we won't do that. We won't bring that impact. We don't impact the church like we have. You know what I mean? You if you are IT on your job and you do IT, it shouldn't be that those things are not helping in IT in your church. And Pastor Jeanette brought a good point in her quote, like, you know, when we need to know people and what they do and their skills, that's on leadership side. But then also we have to have on the people side, when we realize the value, people don't have to know what we do. We bring it to the table and we come and say, that's why they laid their gifts at the apostles' feet. It's not always for people as leaders. We should look and know them, but we have to have responsibilities. Not like I'm going to hide out until y'all find out what I can do. It's like, no, I'm good at this. I'm IT. Now, I don't have a lot of time. I'm not going to say I'm going to be at the church 10 hours, but I maybe can help do some stuff. What I want to use my skill sets based on the time I have, because God been so good to me. And we need to have these conversations. And what we have to do as leaders to hear us, what you have to help your pastor and with leadership to make sure it goes beyond settings even like this. How did we implement that where it's always being echoed? Maybe in new members class, in different settings and different times that people know, like, bring your gifts. Don't wait for us to discover you. You have something to offer to this house. Bring it. It's welcome. It's value. It's needed. You know, don't just hide out and nobody never knew that what you could do. So that's so important. This is how we advance the kingdom. This is how we advance the kingdom of God. And I'm excited about that. Somebody type that in the live stream. God's kingdom is advancing. The kingdom is, I really believe that. The kingdom is advancing because of what we're having now. The kingdom is advancing. This is good stuff. Now, let's go to the third question that I had. Question number 3. How can we recognize and nurture leadership qualities in individuals who may not see themselves as leaders? Okay, this is why we're going 3D. How can we nurture and recognize leadership qualities in people who don't see themselves as leaders? Because we're talking about leadership, we're looking at the misconceptions, and you said that early, Wanda. They don't see themselves. That's what title. Now, this is how we can learn. Let's go discussion. How can we recognize individuals, you know, who may not see themselves as leaders? How can we do that? Help us. Let's start with you, Elder Hill. How can we do this? And this is help all of us. This is the thing that we're about to talk about, that what we should be doing as leaders. And we're all called to lead it in a way. I think you're muted, Elder.
Okay. I like this question because you actually have two types of leaders. You have your formal leader and you also have your informal leader. All right. Your formal leader is the one that's appointed, and your informal leader is that person in the group that actually has the most influence. And so the thing is, as a leader, recognizing a leader, you know, you need to be able to recognize the attributes of a leader without feeling intimidated. All right, without feeling intimidated by that individual. And, you know, through observation, you could see that individual is prioritizing the success of your organization All right. So those, those are things that, you need to capture and recognize that individuals' willingness to work with others, a great team player. And like you said, that individual's bringing those skill sets, to the table, and failure is an opportunity to move forward. Just because you as a team leader, you come up with a plan or something like that. Sometimes, your plan may not come to fruition, but you can see if you see that individual that's, walking that extra mile, taking that extra mile and everything, and working the plan and finding solutions and finding avenues to improve upon whatever you have, those things need to be addressed. And also, are they effective multitaskers? Because in this day of technology and everything, you have to be able to multitask.
Good stuff.
And then you also want to make sure that individual has an understanding of their own limitations, because like you said, you can only go so far, but and if you limit it, that individual need to be able to communicate that with you.
That's good, Elder. And what one thing here me is recognize and nurture. And see, this I love leadership, because see, we need to nurture. That's why I started with that video from the beginning, when the young man, how I said at the end that we needed, seemed like he wasn't getting it, seemed like it wasn't making an impact, but it was. And then he got it. And it's like, don't give up on us. So what do you see in this? Because that's what we need to do. Well, we as leaders, how recognizing and nurturing qualities in individuals that they don't see it. What would you add to this, Apostle?
I believe we have to create opportunities for responsibility for them. If we're trying to, see their potential, maybe give them small leadership roles or responsibilities in areas where they do feel comfortable. You got to start assigning them tasks that align with their strengths. And so when you start doing that, then you'll see where they are as a leader, and you can recognize different things that they have within them that they didn't even really realize that they had in themselves. So it started by assigning them small, things that then as you see that they excel in this, then you begin to, give them bigger tasks to complete and, other leadership roles. But it starts by creating opportunities for them to lead small tasks.
Just pause just a second, Wanda. Just a second. Then with all of those of us who may lead a department, and then if you even don't lead it, how you lead, you can offer these things to the leader and say, like, let's say I lead under your leadership, Wanda, and I'm not the leader. And say, like, you know what? We do. I think, maybe you can get task this out to such and such. And I think that might help develop some of their things. And so even though you're not the leader, you can offer these things to the leader, because it's like going to help take things off your plate. It's going to help them develop. It's going to add more to what we do. So I know, see, we can say that, but see, when we implement that, that's how we go forward. And so those things that we have to do. See, it's the little things that are the big things. So under our leadership, whatever thing, are we giving tasks to people to help develop them, not just because we need something done, but it's attached to development based on their gift. That's why people around me, ministers, a leader, or anybody around me, most of the time, you're going to see I'm going to try to give you something to do. I'm going to ask you to do things that maybe you hadn't done before. Hey, I want you to do this. I want to put you. I didn't want to be on this. I'm going to give you that opportunity. Why? Because I see something in you that maybe you hadn't seen in yourself. And so, but if you say yes to it, it stretches you. If you say no to it, then you stay where you are. But those are the things that leaders do, that to give people opportunities. And so you have to always be doing that. And and how they don't sit on themselves, they like, oh, like I have people now, nothing bad, but leaders now, when I first came to them and say, this is what I see, and you say, oh no, because they didn't see that within themselves. But that's why you need leaders. And so I don't want to go press that, Wanda. What you said was so powerful, but we have to really do that. And don't just look at others and say, Pastor, down, he gonna push you. To a degree, if you're a leader, there should be some level of pusher in you for the people that you lead. Not just saying, well, Pastor gonna push you. He gonna see, don't miss what it takes to help people develop and become their full selves. And so it's sometimes about you doing that, not even them initiating it. So great point, Apostle.
And then also, Pastor, I believe we can observe the person and identify strengths, because you know what? Leadership potential often shows in how people handle challenges, how people go through things. You can see a leader and you can see their strengths on when they're, faced with opposition. You can see how they support others. You can see how they contribute to the group. You can see potentials for them in that area as well. Then I also believe that we can offer, mentorship and guidance, to others. You pair a leader with someone you see they may have the same qualities or strength, or you can see that in them, and you just need someone to help bring that out, and maybe, a mentorship, program to help that person be able to grow and nurture that gift.
Wonderful. This is a masterclass. Elder Pastor Davis, what do you see? This is a masterclass. Good on leadership.
It's good. So it was good what they're saying, but I also think this should be one of the priorities. I mean, when you're doing that, you need to listening. And what I mean by that, you need to engage in a conversation with these people. See what their passions are. See what they like. Before we can see, well, I think they're good in this area. Let me see what area you're good in. What do you like? What are your passions? What are your strengths? What are areas you feel like you called to serve? And those, then when I get that, have that conversation with those individuals, then I can know, okay, I know where you at now. Then I bring in other leaders. Hey, I get feedback from other leaders. Hey, what do you think about so and so doing this? What do you have you been observing him or her? What do you see in them? What do you see the potentials in them and stuff? And that's how we incorporate them in. That's how we get them into a place where they can excel in it, not just be in it, but excel in it, because you sat down to talk to them and have a conversation. Hey, where you at? Where you come from? What did you do there? What do you see yourself doing here? And what are you trying to, what are you trying to excel in? What are you trying to see that your calling is to serve in here? And you got to have that conversation with that individual first to be able to direct them to where he needs to be. But it always got to start with a conversation. I got to have a listening. Oh yeah, that's nice. That's great. Yeah, I can see where that's needed in the body of Christ. Yeah. Have you shared this with anybody else? Then I can get feedback from other. Hey, this guy said he used to do sound here. This sister said she used to do media here at another place. In my conversation with her, and this is her field of expertise. This is what she loves to do, or this is what he loves to do. Then I can have that leader over that ministry reach out, because now he has some information that can start things to moving. For that individual. But I think it always has to start with the conversation, listen to what that person's heart is, what that person's passion is.
Wonderful, Pastor, because that's the, like I said, it's a masterclass, because it starts with the listening and networking. And so when you having conversations, then you'll know where they fit in other areas, what they might do. But then it goes back to this. If we have leaders who don't do people, this never happens. Because you're a leader, but you don't do people. So you're not listening. You're in and you're out. I'm not conversing with anybody. If I don't know you, if I talk to you, I will go to you. I give you the pat hug. God bless you. But why? I'm a leader. I'm standoffish. I don't do people. I'm not a conversationalist. I'm to myself. I'm an introvert. And so because of that, if you get in my auxiliary now, you get under my leadership, I'll talk to you. If I get to know you, I'll talk to you and you will see that I do that. But if you don't get under my leadership and in my auxiliary, then I'm just like, I'm just a person. And I'm going to be friendly to you. I'm going to speak to you, but I'm not going to conversate with you. That level of leadership, elders, it keeps us subpar. That level of leadership keeps us substandard. Why? Not because it's good, but it's not great. Why? I will be friendly. I will say hello. I will speak. I will cross the aisle, hug you, shake your hand. But you know what? It takes another level of intentionality for me to have a conversation and really listen to you. But if I'm standoffish because I want my personality, or there's an arrogant part of me who may think I'm better. So what is it? There's a part of me that you ain't my level and I don't talk and get to know you, or my personality, or maybe I just don't realize how important that I do, and that I sometimes take a sacrifice. But one of the things has to be a reason that you as a leader become standoffish and you don't do people. You don't know the importance. For me, when I as a leader was never standoffish, but then have the level of conversation, is because my personality. I'm just not, but I had to learn to be more sanguine. I had to learn to smile more. I had to learn to, hey, Elder Hill, that was my natural. I learned to be more charismatic, to like talk. Why? Because I can be very stoic. I don't have to talk, what's up, whatever. But I realized my level of leadership is ineffective, especially as a pastor. And I got pegged as like, pastor, use you. Pastor really don't care. I just like, now if I'm teaching you, if I'm coaching you, and I'm training you, I got much to talk about. So I had to learn, and pivot, even if I'm not coaching you, if I'm not taking you to the next level. I have to learn to conversate with people on a caring level, elder, to be able to hear and get to know them, whether they're trying to go to a quote unquote next level, because I'm about next level. I'm about your potential. But I had to learn. So I'm trying to share you with leaders. Some of you need to come out of that. This is why we went through cycles in our church, elders and pastors, that we always encouraging people, cross the aisle, talk to people, that don't just talk to your friends. When we have an event, be a politician. This is your time as a leader in the church to go kiss babies, hug people. You are an influencer. You have a title. People respect you. People look up to you. This is your moment while we're bowling, while we're eating fish, while we're eating hamburgers. You don't have to take all the time. Visit some tables of some people that you don't know, hug them, or have a conversation with somebody like, you know what? I never really get to talk to you, and I just, where you from? I always see you. You don't know the impact because you are somebody in the church. But if you never realize how valuable that is, you'll sit at the table with your crew, with the people you're comfortable with, and you don't affect your leadership on a whole nother level. But Pastor, I'm just trying to chill. You don't have to take the whole time, but you got to learn those things are opportunities when we have community events for the body and you're not on assignment to get to know people. Learn how to do that. I learned it from John Maxwell. I had to learn to do that even when I'm not at my event, to learn to be more sociable, to go and just speak. You can just develop. I hope we hear this. And so this is how we do it. If not, elders, we remain subpar. And all that stuff we're saying, because you hit the key thing, elder, that's where listening comes. We don't do people. We don't listen. And we got to get leaders to get out of our comfort zone and grow to the next level. And that's before they get to know you. It's a bad thing to be that people don't really know the person you are because they never get to know you. They never get to know you because you hide yourself from people. And if we're going to be next level leaders, we can't be like that. Good. Did I hear from you, Elder Hill? Did I hear from everybody on this question? Good. Let's go to question number let's hit this just real quick, rapid fire, because I don't want to run out of time. What is the quality we should look for in potential leaders, so we can know how to identify potential leaders, those that have those qualities? With you, real quick, Apostle, if you got anything, rapid fire. What's some qualities we should look for in potential leaders?
All right, we should look for a heart for serving others. I believe they should be trustworthy. This is essential in leadership. And when I'm saying trustworthy, I believe they need to be trustworthy in public as well as in private. They need to be humble, have a level of spiritual maturity, be teachable, and committed to the church vision. And they have to be about teamwork.
Wonderful. I would work with it, but I don't want my time to run out. Elder Hill, that's some good stuff, Apostle. Whew, go ahead, Apostle. Elder Hill, what's some things, quality? Because see, we want to help nurture and recognize, so we need to know this is what we're looking for, people that can be potential leaders. You're muted, Elder.
Apostle stole most of my thunder, but I'm going to try to. A person that is willing to work as a team member, all right, willing to work as a team member and also willing to learn. I feel that is vital, because the thing is, anytime you go to a new organization, each organization, they have their own nuances and they have their own specific ways and how they do things. So you need to find a person that have the ability to interact with you and with your specific program.
That's good. We're picking this up. This is good. Because see, we want to one of your charges when you're a next level leader, we want to ignite the leader in you when you learn to help build and identify future leaders. Not just you lead, you next level now where you are helping identify and pull out other leaders. Then you having a big impact. Pastor Davis, just some qualities.
Pastor, one of the greatest qualities to me, you're an on-time person. That's the number one quality to me, because if I feel like you're not on time, then you're going to be a waste of time. So you always got to be a on-time person that you don't have to look at a watch. You're there before the time starts. And Elder Hill talking about a person that likes to a motivational person, a person that's enthusiastic. Okay, I'm in there. He or she's enthusiastic. They're here to, oh man, now I get this opportunity to do what God has called me to do. So I'm willing to do whatever it takes to accomplish the task, to accomplish the mission, to do what God has called me to do. So a person who's always enthusiastic, they don't look at things being hard. They look at things that, hey, we're going to solve this. We're going to do this thing. It may take some time, but we all going to work together, get together, and we're going to find solutions for this. So a person that's always on time is the first thing for me, because people who's not timely, they sometimes can become a waste of time, because you're ready to pour in to a person and say, oh, where's Johnny? Where's Johnny? We scheduled this a week ago, and I gave you, I got my phone and text you, make sure everything's on time, and you're not. So I'm looking for a person that's not full of excuses neither.
Oh man,
I think if a person is full of excuses, that's a person that's going to waste your time, because they're not sold out to the mission of the kingdom. Kingdom work is tasked out, is timed out, and you got to be that person that has that willingness to committed. I'm looking for a committed person as well, because they're committed. They're going to be on time. They're going to be enthusiastic, and they're going to be goal oriented. And they're going to be, hey, I'm not here for me. I'm here for the team.
That's good. I won't touch it because the time will get away. But that's so all y'all cooking. This is good. And let me pause where we won't just put it. She said, I'm going to challenge leaders, and all of us leaders that we said from beginning to a degree. These are the things we should be looking at amongst us to help not give people a title or a position, but to help bring the leader in them. Because these are people who can be on the team, and we have a team of leaders on every level. Those are the people that we can look at these qualities. And the only thing I add to it that y'all didn't put, you need to have people that really, who have a heart that buy into the vision of their local church and their way of doing things. Because you said it, Elder Hill, there's a nuanced way of doing things. So you need people that buy into the way we do it. The way McDonald's do it is not wrong, but we're Burger King. So you could be like, well, we didn't do it like this. And when I was in Germany, when I was in Georgia, when I was in Florida, all that's not bad, but this is how our protocol, this is the way we do it. So you have to have individuals who buy into it, because if not, they'll buck and destroy the system because they don't like the way we do it. It's like, why I got to do that? And see, that don't work because that ain't how we flame broil our burgers. And so we're not saying they're wrong, but this is different. And so that's the thing, you got to look for people who are willing to adjust to some of the nuances and that really do care about what we care about. And so sometimes people have their own agenda. So that's real good. Let's go quickly, gentlemen and ladies, so we can make sure we try to finish this. Let's go to our fourth question. In what ways can we hold ourselves accountable to our standard of Triple E leadership to be effective, efficient, and excellent? You know, we didn't really talk about it, but I want to bring this out in the book. I talked about what Triple E leadership was from the book of Acts when they had to deal with the Grecians and things. And one of the couple of things I wanted you all to see in there, I talked about some of the things, and we might hit a couple of those before I leave, but I talked about the power of what Triple E leadership does in 5. And we won't be able to work all of them, but listen, they solve problems. That they solve problems, not just identify them, leaders, but there was Triple E because they solved it. It's easy to say this wrong, this wrong, this wrong, church wrong. No, help us solve it. Not saying what we're doing wrong. We need to do something for the kids. Or something for, you've identified a problem. You're right. We do got a problem. We need to do something about that. Okay, that's the easy part. But now as the leader part, help us solve it. They serve people. We got that. Then they created systems we'll talk about in a way. And then they had sustained success. They made we solved it where it can continually being solved. And they strategize. All of those things are important. And so that's part of our Triple E standard. But we want to hold ourselves accountable to that. And I say this because, listen, leaders, and we got to move on. This question I have is important because it does us no good to have Triple E standards, have a motto, have it on the wall, to talk about it, for me to put it in books. And if we don't meet that standard, if we're not doing it, you know what I mean? It's kind of like having speed limits and then you don't drive the speed limit. So we have to be accountable so we can do it. How can we do this? Let's start with ladies first again. Apostle, how can we hold ourselves accountable in doing that as leaders, as a body?
I think we need to engage in regular self-reflection and assessment, right? If we do that, we have to ask ourselves the questions. Are the outcomes of my leadership achieving the desired goals? That's the effectiveness, right? Am I using resources and my time wisely? That's being efficient. Am I upholding a high standard of quality in everything I do? That's your excellence, right? And so we have to make sure that we're doing a self-reflection and assessment of ourselves, of our leadership style, to see. And if you ask those questions of the things that you're doing, you'll find out if you are or not. And then you have to have develop a system of accountability, right? You got to surround yourself with an accountable team or a mentor that will regularly check, in on your leadership progress and let you know, hey, maybe you can improve in this, or what you're doing right here is excellent. You just need to do this, and take it in, be teachable. And I believe that would help us with the Triple E standard.
Wonderful. I won't mess with it with time. Good gems, good nuggets, Apostle. Good stuff. Self-evaluation.
Yes.
Wow. Elder Hill.
Pastor, I feel as a leader, you need to be receptive to criticism. All right. That's, that constructive criticism. You need to be receptive to constructive criticism. You also need to have some self-awareness, of your own strengths and weaknesses, and improve on those weaknesses. And you need to have, as a leader, you need to also have a full understanding of the church's vision itself. Because see, if you have a full understanding of the church's vision itself, you can identify potential problems when people start to deviate off that. And then, you can pull them back. And then and you also need to learn some mental agility. So, and then learning that mental agility, when you see those individuals, or even yourself, when you see yourself starting to deviate off, you can make a quick assessment and get back on track. All right. And just like the Bible said, you can get back on track and be in decent and in order. And that's the main thing, without causing further friction.
Good stuff. Elder, for time, I won't touch it. Good stuff. Good deal. On you, Pastor Davis. Help us quickly with this. How can we hold ourselves accountable? Because not enough for us to say this Triple E, talk about Triple E, apostle, pastors, elder, and we're not doing it.
Amen.
And that's what I was gonna come, Pastor. We got to be, we can't be hearers of the word. We got to be doers of the word. We're gonna hold ourselves. Apostle Cofield talked about a self-assessment, and that was one of mine. But I said we got to, one thing, we define what effectiveness, efficiency, and excellence looks like from your specific context. This could include measurable goals in ministry. Setting goals in ministry and accomplishing those goals in a timely fashion, and measuring, okay, what was successful and what things that failed that I could have done better. So we always got to make that self and be aware that sometimes we're not going to hit the mark, even though we try excellent. But we also got to understand with Triple E, there's no finish line to Triple E. There's no finish line. We continue to try to get better and better each time. So we don't have a cutoff point. If I was successful then I'm gonna be better the next time in something else, because there's no finish line to it. There's no finish line in being effective, efficient, and excellent. There's no finish line, and that was Goodyear's slogan. There's no finish line to productivity. There's no finish line to safety. We're gonna continue to improve on what we're doing to get better and better and better at it. And
good. That's Bible talk about. We go from glory to glory. That's the Bible.
Yeah,
that's good stuff, Elder Pastor David. That's good. I won't touch it, Pastor, but that's so good. You hit one thing. That's our AARs. That's why we have actor. That's part of. You'll see that I have a whole chapter devoted to this. That I want to put in this book. So, because I never spelled out that concept of why we do it, but that's why we do AARs. So we can have that reflection, like you said, Elder Davis, and all of those things. So that's good. And I crafted it this way as well. I know there's a part that leaders hold people accountable. You got to hold people accountable. But I think next level leadership, greatness leadership, when you can hold yourself accountable.
Yeah.
That's next level. That you don't, where we have people like, I hold my, well, y'all need to hold the pastor accountable. Yes, people do. But it's next level. He should hold himself accountable. So I need to hold Apostle Cofield accountable. I should as a leader. But Apostle, and y'all should hold one another accountable. But more than Elder Hill holding Pastor Davis or Apostle Cofield accountable, your peers, no. Beyond that, that's true. But the other side, how you holding yourself? Because if you do, like you said, Elder Hill, then you're not offended when others do. You say, that's my bad, man. I slipped. We all slip sometimes. It's like, you know what? I got to do better than that, and I'm gonna own it. Not gonna make an excuse. Let me close my mouth so we won't run out of time. Number 5. Let's start with you, Pastor David. How can we create systems within our church that promote sustained success and continual improvement? How can we create? I said that when you go back to page 6. I'm gonna read this. They created systems. Excellent leadership creates systems that foster sustained success. The apostles established a system where 7 men were appointed to handle the daily administration, ensuring continuous and effective service. See, because many times if we solve a problem, but we don't create a system, we're going to have that problem again. So when I'm in the church, when I'm thinking about something, I'm thinking about the long term. How can we do this and not put duct tape on it? So sometimes you got to create systems. And so that's part of upper level, what they call upper level leadership. There's different tiers of leadership. You know, you got management, but then you got leadership. They create the systems and the protocols. So this is what we do. Help us, Pastor Davis, quickly.
Well, I think like one of them, Pastor, that we're already doing, and we always got to make sure that it is refreshed, is revised if it needs revision, and that's your SOP systems as far as things that are in place for different ministries in the body. We got to make sure those in place. We got to make sure that those not just in place, but they're effective. They can be placed, but we're not using them. So we got to make sure they're effective. And if something in it that's not working, we either revamp it or scrap it out and make one better that everybody can adhere to. And it's just plain example. It you know, great to understand. You can understand it easy. Then you can go, achieve that objective from that system, whatever it is. And I think that's one of the great tools that a lot of ministries don't have. And another thing is your ongoing leadership meetings and stuff like that. Create systems to say, hey, this is where we at, what worked, what didn't work, this is where we go to from here. This is and have everything implemented, everything written down where like the Bible says, write down the vision, and give it where they can run with it, where you got to give them something. So they got to be able, as long as they can see it and they can have an understanding. If they don't have an understanding, we go with where understanding is simple, and it can be effective. So I think the system that we have in place, or the new system that's coming up, with Kingdom of God, ain't nothing new under the sun, but there's new systems that can be implemented that help further the kingdom. Systems in media, media technology is changing every day. So you got to keep up with that. So you got to have a system in place. How am I keeping up with this? Well, you got to go places for one thing. You got to read things. You got to see what's going on. I mean, so much stuff is on YouTube on what they're doing now and doing this and doing that, and how you make it better, how you make it greater. So we always got to be in training ourselves to get better with things that are going on around that impact the ministry. So that's what I see.
Good. We're moving fast, Elder, but that is so true. So true. So true. I'm just going to pause a minute and go to you, Apostle Cofield, because I know we're pressing for time. You hit it. You got to research in your area. Your area, you have to see what's going on in other spaces and places. If I'm on vacation from somewhere, and that's just how I'm built that way. If I got time, it's like I'm in somebody's church. Me and my wife do things like, babe, you sleep in. I'm at a 7:00 service. I'm at an 8:30 service, and what I'm doing, I'm looking for ideas. I'm seeing what are they doing, and then you know what I do? I bring those things and make it tweak for us. So I like that, Elder Hill. I like that. They turned the TV upside down and made a graphic thing, and you people paying $3,000, $2,500 for stuff. They kill a TV and they turn it upside down. Elder, help us get this technology. Let's figure out how they did this. We call them Jacoby, call them and find out. Talk to their person. How did y'all do it? We can't get it to work. See, my point is, that's the level of intentionality you have to have in your area to keep innovating and finding systems for continuous improvement. Let me mute. Go, Apostle.
I'll be brief. What I believe that we have to develop a process, it's kind of like a leadership development pipeline. Pipeline keeps going, right? Keep going. So we need to look for training system, program to help, opportunities to help others to when it just keeps going when someone leaves or whatever, we have that pipeline, we have that development to where they've already been trained, they already know what to do, and they follow through. And just like Pastor Davis was saying, you know, we got to utilize technology for efficiency and growth, right? So whatever we need to do with technology now, because that's where it is right now, we have to educate ourselves to do that and get on that level and start, you know, executing in that way. And I believe that will help us, you know, sustain success and continuous improvement.
Educating ourselves. Wonderful. Elder Hill. You muted, Elder.
Thanks. Yes, Pastor. Create feedback loops. You know, the best way to encourage continuous improvement is to create a culture that supports that. You know, and actually, I feel that, you know, as far as New Life, I feel that we do have that. Another thing is to focus on the team's advancement while emphasizing individual achievement. You know, so that the thing is we got a collective task, but as we moving forward on the collective task, we're giving those attaboys to those individuals that are contributing, and that's, you know, making sure that we move forward. We also need to set realistic goals. All right. Sometimes we can have an ideal, and the thing is it's all right to have a lofty ideal, but the thing is you got to have a plan that will support that. Be flexible and also be willing to be wrong. Your idea was better than mine. So the thing is, I'm going to roll with your plan. All right. Because your plan was better than mine. Lead by example. Because the thing is, as a leader, you know, all eyes is on us. All eyes is on you. And if you lead by example, people will respect you. All right. And they will respect your organization. So the thing is, even if you don't totally make it 100% the way you want it to be, you're going to have that support group that's going to help you get there.
Excellent, Elder. And I like how you said, and we have it, but I like that terminology. And you will talk about it later, Elder Hill, because that just stood out. Feedback loops. You know, we have it, but I really like that, because you need that. You know, we have it through AARs, but I like that, to make sure in everything that we're doing that we have like a good feedback loop, an established system, so we can get the in every area. I really love that. That's why I said this is a master class, you know, in it. Let's hit this. We're getting ready to close, but I wanted to show what system do we have in place at New Life, and, you know, what do you appreciate about our system? Because I want to show the body. This is where I said the apostles, they set up a system for it was a problem. The widows was being neglected. And this is Triple E, not just solving a problem, but creating a system so that we can prevent it. And that takes strategy. That takes planning. It takes the meaning of the mind. You can't do it just on Sunday morning. You just can't show up and try to fix your area then. It takes time outside. And this is the task that we're tasked as leaders. Can you name some of our systems, Elder? Just because I want our body to think like we have systems in church. So do y'all, what's some of our systems that hit you, Apostle Cofield, within New Life, that you kind of think of as we have a system?
I mean, we have a system with the new members class, you know, that's a system that we have to let the new members know what we're about, what we have. And then that's a system also to where I always get to know them. What do you do? You know, because we talk. And so that's another way. That's a system in place to, you know, letting them know what we have. That's a system in place to let us know what they have. We have that in place already. We have training in place already. I believe that we have the servitude, you know, already in place. A lot of things, you know, the technology enhance it. We have that in place. I believe we have the things that we talked about tonight, the good systems. I believe we have all that in place. And now all we have to do is continue to work on that, because we don't want to just stay there and plateau, but we want to continue to look for ways to make it better and see what we can do. You know, we don't stop just because we have it. You know, we continue to research and enhance just what we have.
Good. And I wanted to set it for the body, and then we're about out of time. because I want y'all to think in terms of we have a church that we do system, our new members. And when you work with pastor as a leader, or you, especially on the leadership side, or you get it, you'll realize when we're building a system, we have to detail it. Like what we did, the automation part. When do you know about it? How did we get it done? When are we go? That's called a system. How does this thing flow? And it can continually go and go smooth. That take time and strategy and coordination. So that's what leaders are tasked to do, to build system. Elder Hill, when you think about New Life, any system that you can think of, because I want our body to see and our other leaders to see, like, okay, that's a system. And how's my system in my area? Do I need to create one?
Cross training. I feel that we have a good system, implemented as it applies to cross training. And the thing is okay, let's say all of a sudden, something happens unbeknownst to us, at least we had through cross training, we have, we have people that has some concept of what's going on, so that we can still move forward. And it may not be totally flawless, but the thing is, it'll still, the program itself will still move forward. So
wonderful.
Cross training.
That's good. Yeah, we have leaders that know they can go work in another area that's not their primary area because they had a level of training in that. That's right. We do have that system that we do that. That's not your main area, but we cross train you so you can go in case that's needed. That's real good, Elder. Elder Davis, anything? Because I want our body to know if we do that, to hit you that they didn't mention.
The Slack, when people are going to be out of something, you got that system in place, so we'll know where those leaders is out, and beforehand. I think that's a good system. I talked about earlier. SOPs is always a great system. For any local church. But I enjoy the Slack to be able to chime in, to give a heads up, because we need that heads up of what's going on. That person may be critical for the next service, but we don't know that person is not available. So that system is in place to know that person is not there, and we can find somebody to move in that place. Good. So I think that's a great system.
Yeah, and what our 3D leadership discussion, this is part of our system of training and developing and helping educate. A system for our ministers, our fivefold ministers, they want to become, if they're called to be ministers, we have a system to help them get licensure or whatever with our body that go through. Our altar workers, it's a system that we train our altar workers for discipleship to a degree with our new members orientation, but even with our Bible school, and we, with that, but I'm always tweaking it. So we redoing the system. So those things, our marriage and CAM is all those are systems. Premarital counseling is a system. And the reason important of a system, now you have interchangeable parts. That's the thing why it's good to have system is not a person. See, when we Apostle Cofield oversee our new members class. See, if it was a person, once Apostle Cofield no longer do it, now the system break down if it was a person. But if we have a system, if she moves out, now the systems can still flow. If it's a system, now she can bring in other people to run different parts of the system. So rather than one person doing it, 2 people, 3 people. Why? Because there's parts to the system. So when we create system, now you can break it down to interchangeable, and it don't stop. It can keep moving like the army. So that's why we want to always create systems, because if you don't have a system, when you lose the person, you have to start over because you had a person, not a system. That's why you need the documentation. So that's part of what we do. If you've enjoyed tonight, I've enjoyed it. This has been a masterclass in leadership. Will you let our panel know how you enjoyed them tonight? If you've been blessed tonight, it does take teamwork. Let our panel know. Panel, I want to give you a chance to just share as we close tonight. Maybe any final thoughts. I know we talked about one. We didn't get to question 6, but it talked about strategies that we can help ensure everyone in our church feels called to lead in a unique capacity. I think we kind of hit that in different ways tonight. But I want to just give you an opportunity to share any final thoughts tonight that might be on your heart. I think we had a good dialogue, and hope it ignited the leader in you. You know what I mean? That next level leader, to get out your comfort zone, to evaluate, to think about, am I creating system? And it takes time. We're creating some systems now, and it takes time to do it. It takes effort, collaboration. Why? Because I want it to flow smoothly. And that's what leaders do. Most people are used to coming into a system that's already pre-made. McDonald's, your job, and you learn it. But when you go to the next level, what God has called us, then sometime now you on the front end, you are creating the system. And so this is what we do, and we help tweak it and make it better. Let's start with you, Elder Hill. Any final thoughts tonight as we prepare to close? Let the panel know how you enjoyed them tonight.
Yes, Pastor. I mean, this was a great class, a great night, because the thing is, as far as leadership itself, it is a fluid, moving machine. And the thing that I would probably like to leave, with them is to watch what they say and do. Influential leaders know their words and action are up for interpretation. So the thing is we have to be cognitive at all times of what we do and say.
Wonderful. Pastor Davis, any final thoughts you had tonight? I've enjoyed this.
I've enjoyed it too, Pastor. And for those who may not know their call or may not think that they have value in the church, which they do. I just wanted to read this, Pastor. It's something that we also need to do. Understand when I use the term stack the deck. We're always trying to stack the deck. So what do you mean by that, Elder? It says your vision, strategies, and plan can all look great on paper, but at the end of the day, it all hinges on leadership. If the church is relying on too few leaders to accomplish too many things, you'll never experience sustainable growth. Churches that grow have deep bench. Therefore, you need to stack your deck in your favor by recruiting, developing more and better leaders. And those people don't know you are a leader, and we're waiting on you to answer the call.
Wow. Elder Hill, we won't touch that till we go off, but we got to stack deck. That's good. We're stacking. That's why we're having this training.
We do.
That's why I'm pushing for next level leaders. Sometimes if you don't care, Apostle, people think like, I would tell leaders, I'm not teaching that something wrong, like something wrong. Our leaders not doing it. No, this is the push because we want next level. It's like, well, why like people not, our leaders not friendly? No. We're going next level. It's like there's another level. And that's how we that's how we train, we get, and that's how we become a better. That's what I do with myself. It's like always, how can I make that better? It's like, it was good. That was good. But it's like, no, there's some things I got to do better next time. We'll work it. Why? Because it's always about continuous improvement. I love that, Elder Davis. I had to get that quote afterward. Apostle Cofield, final thoughts.
I just want to speak to everyone and let them know, whether you lead in the front, the back, the middle, side, wherever you leading from, just know that your thing that you do is vital to the body of Christ. Is vital. Whether you're a greeter, whether you are usher, whether you in the sound booth, no matter what you do, working children's church, that's a vital part of the church and helping the church lead better and to reach people. And we just want to know that helps the health and the growth of the church by you doing what you do effectively. So I just want to encourage everybody to keep doing what you're doing because it's helping us.
You're helping the kingdom. And you're making a difference. You're making a mark that cannot be erased. Thank you, panel. Thank you, New Life family. We look forward to seeing you on Sunday. Be sure you read chapter 2. We're going to go deeper, and you are a great leader. And what you make happen for others and what you do for God, you don't think God not going to reward you many times over. Good night, everyone. We'll see you on our next time together.